Hey crew, welcome back to the channel. I want to be setting up a couple hard tracks for you today. Just some basic stuff for doing the refueling on the 60 when you're flying around anywhere you're at. So we got three types. We have the racetrack, we have our circle, then we have it anchored. I'll kind of show you how to set up all three of those today. In reality, I think most of you guys flying probably won't ever use the tanker unless you're like really making a cool mission with some length, departing somewhere with a really low fuel state. Because with our internal fuel, so you got the extra tanks, you got 4,000 pounds of fuel. It's almost 4 hours of fuel. It's almost 4 hours of playtime. So, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and come over here. I'm gonna make a draw tool first, so I kind of gauge how big my racetrack's gonna be. So I'm gonna go polygon, rectangle, and just pop that thing down real quick. And then usually how I'll set up my racetrack, it's about an 8-mile length. And they'll go ahead and put it for a 3-mile width. So we get that set up here, and we'll kind of usually want to drag it around to where we're going to have a refuel track at. So just put it right here. And then we'll set it at an angle, just so you can kind of get an idea. So put a 3.5. Cool. So now we got that little angle there. Go ahead and pop down the aircraft. Boom. Did I stick with a strict naming convention for my aircraft as far as like their call signs are going to be? Just so that when players are playing or in my friend group, we know what's what. In that case, I usually will use like a boom tank, would be Texaco. Stuff that has a drogue, at a high speed drogue would be like Arco, so something like F-18s or F-14s. You will use Shell for anything it's like a slow airspeed drogue. That are my fun names I use right here. So, but I won't use those today. Actually, you know what? I will use them. So we got Talon. So we'll go ahead and name him Talon. So he'll be Talon. And again, I use everything with a 7. It's gonna be a tanker for me. So everyone that knows call sign 7 will be a tanker. Let's do tanker 1. And then I'll put the TACAN number in here as well. Even though the 60s can't use TACAN, it's still a good reference to other players. We'll put 7-1. And I use Yankee for anything that's in the air. And I'll put the radio frequency at the end. So it'll be 258 is what I use. So 258. And then just copy paste that one down. So we're going to go ahead and copy paste pilot name. Then we'll go ahead and change the freak to 258. And then its numbers be 71. Cool. That way when you know you're playing, 71 is on 258. Pretty easy to quick reference that. Alright, let's pop down here. Go ahead and I think the biggest key to this is going to be keeping your fuel weight down low. About 70% fuel will allow the C-130 to get down to 115 knots, which we're going to set it at today. You know, let's make it a fun boom. Alright, so next thing we want to do is to see what altitude we're at. So right now we got this, which would be my waypoint 1. It's going to be at 28 and some change. Right here is about 29 and some change. So we'll say 3,000. Then I'm going to set the altitude for refueling track about 1,000 feet higher than that. So we're going to pick 4,000 feet. So we'll go ahead and start that at 4,000 feet. And I'll start him at 300 knots is where I'll start him at. Awesome. Then I'll continue down and then knock out the TACAN portion of it. It's me Y on channel 7.1. And then I'll go ahead and name this call sign TLN. And then boom. You even do like Talon, put 7.1. Right. Now we know who's who. Cool. So let's go ahead and make a waypoint here. We're going to hit add. Waypoint 1 will be right here in the corner. We know it's 8 miles track, and then waypoint 2. Then just go back to waypoint 1. We're going to add, perform task, orbit, and then racetrack will populate automatically. And we're going to be 115 knots is where we want to refuel at on the 60. So 115, and we'll make it 4,000 feet. And really, that's all there is to it, setting up a refueling track on a racetrack. Go ahead and hide our Cool. Alright, that one's set up. Let's go ahead and set up a circle track. So we're getting another tanker. I'm just going to pop that down here at boom. And we'll do this one Halo. So it'll be Halo 7 for fun, 7-4. This will be 7-4 Yankee on 258. So let's copy paste it. Boom, boom. 258. Halo 7-4. That's all set up. I'll go ahead and change up my look here. Good old DM. And our fuel back to 70. Cool. Then we already kind of know the area, so I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick. Talon, so 4. Maybe Halo, so HLO, 4. Boom. And then we're going to do 4,000 feet and 300 knots. And that's what we'll start at. And we already kind of know. It's like 28 and change, so hit add a waypoint. Boom, waypoint 1. Waypoint 1 will be our point. So we're going to hit add, form task, orbit, circle. There's no continuation of waypoints. And then we'll do 115 as well. We'll set this to 4,000 feet. Cool. And that circle. The last one is anchored. And it's really useful in tight areas when you put a refueling track, because you can really control all the aspects of its legs. All right, so we're gonna put a KC down. Let's put them like right here. A little rougher terrain over here. And we'll name this one King. So let's put you King 78 Yankee, or sorry, 78 Yankee. On 25. Just copy paste it again. Boom. Freak 258. King 78. Come down here, a little MC. Boom. And then our fuel percentage. Alright, so let's see what kind of stuff we can get ourselves into here. 27. Let's set the track over here. So it's 28. Alright, so we can stick to our 4,000 feet. So 4,000 at 300. Cool. And then go ahead and we'll do our deck. Also find out what works for you when you're doing this as well. If this order is kind of like weird to you, you'll find a good way to do it. Boom. So that one's set up. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and we'll make a waypoint here. We're going to add. Just put there. And then boom. Cool. Yeah, we can still keep that at 4,000 feet. Alright, so we're going to make waypoint 2 our anchor point for our track. And I want to make sure that he's going to be going from like a southwest to northeast direction. So we're going to hit add, form task, orbit, go to anchored. So we're going to set him on 115 knots. That's 4,000 feet. And the biggest thing to remember is this hot leg bearing is the point to your waypoint. So we're going to set it, I'm going to have a nice direction, so we're going to do like 49 degrees, so go ahead and put 49. So now what it's going to do is get to this point, it's going to sort left or right, depending on what the AI wants to do, and then start a downward leg from that point, and then come back on that hot leg bearing to your anchored point. And again, I do my leg length 8. But the greatest thing about doing this is you can set up a width of like 1 nautical mile. So we do like 1. Right? There is some presets you can use. but I think 50 miles by 20 on a KC-130 is pretty ludicrous. It'd be good for like a boom tanker. But that one's set up. Cool. Go ahead and close that out here. And go ahead and pop in the mission, and I'll show you what these look like. And as that loads, cool, here we are. Go and pop in Game Master, and we'll watch these guys fly. Alright, so we have our racetrack, we got our circle, and then we have our anchored. And with a little bit of DCS time magic, we're going to speed it up to 10. Boom. So Talon 7-1 hits its waypoint. It's going to go ahead and start slowing down on its downwind leg. We're here to see King hits anchor point. Boom. Okay, he turned right. He's going to circle around and left. He's going to come back and hit his downwind leg for his anchored point. There he is, decelerating, and now he's at speed, and then now he's on his downwind leg. We got Talon over here, he's working on his racetrack. It's very basic. And it should be about a 3-mile leg is what he will do for width on his own. Actually, maybe a little bit shorter. About a 2-mile. There you go. And usually that's all there is to it. It's not rocket science on this stuff. He's out here cruising, and you're able to refuel from him. And it's plenty slow enough for you to come up with a 60 plug and then head on out. Alright, I'm going to show you a little bit more about why I believe the anchored is vastly superior. So we're going to hop back to the mission editor. We'll find like a good area here that we can stick a tanker. Let's see. Alright, so we got this right here, right? It's got mountains on both sides. That's about a 5-mile gap between these. What you could do, put a tanker in here. I'm coming this direction. So let's see what our altitude is here. We'll round up to about 4,000, 5. Alright, we'll have them come in at like 6,000 feet. And 300 knots. I'm not going to worry about naming this guy. It's more just a show and tell gig. So I'm going to have him come through right here. And I'm going to start his refuel track in here. So I know he's going to do a counterclockwise rotation. So what we do is move this waypoint here on that leg. Right? And then we know I want to keep him within a mile, like a mile, do a mile and a half. Boom. And then I know we got plenty of room here. We'll do like a 10-mile leg. So we'll go ahead and set up a waypoint. Add. We'll hit your orbit. Anchored. Right? At 115. I think our 6,000 should be good. Just 5. I should probably drop in 5,000 feet. Cool. We know our hot leg goes to our point. So now we can kind of see. I want them on a 268 track. 268. 268. We'll do the leg length of 10. And we'll do the width at a mile and a half, so 1.5. Alright, so that one's pretty set up. And before we pop in, I'm going to go ahead and make my fuel down to 70. I'm going to show you how to do this magic here. Once again, I'm popping Game Master, doing fly, up over here. Alright, so amount of time, we'll speed them up a bit here. So we can clear the mountains. We go ahead and turn in, go to his waypoint, and descend down. It's gonna hit that waypoint, boom. Come back to his anchor point. Thing is, he's slowing down on his downwind leg. And you can get creative, of course, like you have a smaller section, use a shorter, like a leg, like 5 miles. Because it doesn't take really long to plug on the 60. Actually refuels pretty quickly. Actually, I'll probably do a video on how to refuel, and then I'll also do one at night. That way you guys can kind of see how I do it. Other than that, really that's all I got for you. Hope that helps some. I'll probably do more advanced ones later using Lua editing and actually writing scripts for your tankers using the comm menu where you can change your position, keep them on an orbit elsewhere, and then you can send them into your area if you need refueling, or do a time on target, like a meet up point. I will call a tanker to you, which is pretty cool with the anchor point. With that, I hope that helps, guys. See you.